Hello, welcome to Shelby Radio. I am Shelby Carino, and this is episode number 677. And happy New Year's Eve! If you are listening or watching me on YouTube in real time, this is the last day of 2024 as we move into 2025, which is bizarre. Okay. It's kind of like, what is happening to the years? They're just flying by. But anyway, that's a whole other episode. So today we are going to leave 2024 in a huge way where we set the stage for creating a season of real happiness where you're living for you as you move into 2025, and you can already start taking the culmination of everything that you've discovered, learned, aligned with in the months episodes that we've been doing in this series of living for you, how to quiet the noise and find real happiness. You can take all of this and you can put it out into your future part for the holidays of 2025, and you can implement these strategies and then see what changes, right? So, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Hello to everybody around the world. Happy New Year's Eve. Hello to Sweden, India, the United States, all my people in Canada and Brazil, Mexico, China, Japan, the United Kingdom, Australia, Ghana. I know I'm missing people, but hello. Thank you for tuning in. And let's just kind of recap the series that we've been undergoing, because this is the fifth episode in the series. Okay, because the way I calculated it was December has 5 Tuesdays. So we ended up with 5 episodes for the month of December here in 2024. So if we go back in time and we look at the first episode, it was about the holiday mask, which is letting go of the perfectionism. Then in the second week, we moved from saying no to saying yes, because that's where we learned about setting the boundaries. And then we moved to the comfort of quiet, which is embracing that stillness, learning to breathe, the 444. And then last week we did the conversation about finding joy in what matters, where you're letting and releasing the shoulds. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. So I'm curious, how has the entire month gone for you? What are you putting together as a whole from what you've learned, what you've implemented? Okay. Because now we're going to end 2024 with a bang, because this episode is going to tie it all together about how to live authentically, how to create real happiness, and let the holiday seasons actually reflect what truly matters to you. So that's the important thing. And in 2025, we're moving into a more creative year. There's going to be a lot more tower moments, because many more people are going to be releasing their shadows. They're going to be moving into more personal growth and development work. They're going to be exploring more spiritual sides of self and it not be just a buzzword. So they are moving into a season next year of 2025. So they can get to more joy. They can get to more peace. They can get to more alignment. And that might be you that I'm speaking to. All right. And the psychic in me is all about putting it out front, so you know what you're chasing after, you know what you're pulling in from that future energy. So if you've been tuning in real time, then let's just look at this as, wow, how lucky are you? you're going to be a whole year ahead of yourself. You're a whole season ahead of yourself because now you get to take the strategies and implement this through the year leading up to the holiday season of 2025. So, this is all about empowerment. This is all about giving yourself permission to redefine what happiness looks like for you. And as we go into 2025, we're moving into the Chinese astrology of the wood snake, I think is what it is. And the snake is just a symbolism of shedding layers, okay? Letting go of the old layer of ourself, that old skin, and rejuvenating and basically just like reshaping, reforming that new layer of skin and grounding that in for who we are to become in this new season of our spiritual awakening process. So 2025 is about to become what I call an industry of more awakened, aware individuals because they have no choice but to shed their old layers. So you're listening to all of this information now and you're preparing for what you are personally stepping into. So let's define what real happiness is. What does real happiness mean? Because when you're shedding layers of your old self, and the holiday seasons usually bring stuff up, okay? And then you go, oh, I need to work on that. Okay. So that's a layer of that snake that we're moving into for 2025. You may look at that because you're really wanting to get into more authentic happiness. So, first, you have to know, well, what is happiness? Because you may have been removed from happiness for a very long time and you don't even know what it is anymore. Okay. So, let's kind of brainstorm happiness. Happiness is never about meeting expectations or achieving perfection. Okay. That's not what happiness is about. But we think if we achieve this expectation or we achieve perfection, that we'll be happy. And really, it's quite the opposite. Happiness is about living in alignment with yourself, your values, feeling connected to you, the authentic part of you, and finding the space in the simplicity of you and the life you're creating. Let's go to a real-time example. Let's look at social media. Okay, let's talk Instagram for a minute. If you're on Instagram, I can definitely say, have seen a lot of happiness of people being in their authentic selves from the reels that are posted. Whether they're, doing some kind of dance or they're doing comedy or just things that just they're sharing life in these authentic moments. And that's why we go on social media and all of a sudden we're scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. We're looking at reels, reels, reels. And then you go to like, oh my God, 45 minutes just went by. But in that state, you went into their life and you were getting happy from them being happy or doing something funny. Okay. And then you sit there and go, but I want that for myself. Right. And you want it in places that matter. Or you may be on social media and you're seeing how the tiny home community world is really expanding. People buying vans and really fixing them up into these tiny home spaces or doing it on buses or, doing the RV travel. I mean, people are just craving simplicity. But society says, oh, the bigger the better. Well, the bigger the better has a lot of more accountability, a lot more finances, a lot more responsibility. And people in their spiritual nature right now are looking for peace. They're looking for quiet. They're looking to not have so much on them all the time. Okay. So, what are your values that you're pulling in for 2025? So you can connect to that, so you can be authentic to that. And that will play out in the holiday seasons at the end of 2025. Okay. So, let's look at the illusion of the holiday happiness that you're moving through. Culturally, we are taught that happiness comes from achieving something outside of us. Okay, you always got to chase this. It's outside of you. So, happiness is if you go find the perfect gift and give it to somebody. Happiness is if you throw a party and you're living in the dynamic of that's just what we do. Or happiness is, oh look, you bought the right outfit. Okay, your appearance is on point. Okay. Oh, now you did the right selfie. Now you put that on social media. Oh, okay. So that's all happiness, right? That's culturally what we're taught. It's that image. But real happiness comes from reflecting on what your personal truth is, not what society has scripted you to think your happiness is. Now, if you're buying the perfect gifts and having the parties and doing the appearances and all that, and you're in your authentic personal truth, well, absolutely freaking hallelujah, good, because then you're aligned. But if you're just the actor out here and the robot, doing whatever you think you need to be doing, then you're not you're in the illusion. And we're here to come out of the illusion. So real happiness on a spiritual level is very much so a higher frequency state of being, which also means it's a higher frequency state of mind. Because remember, as we're going into this fifth dimensional energy even more in 2025, which is a higher level of consciousness, which is a higher level of energy, it's a higher level of frequency. That's why the year of the wood snake, the personal growth and development, the shedding of the illusion, the shedding of the old layers, this is what's bringing us to align with our true self. And when you do that, you naturally raise your vibration. You naturally attract in more joy. You naturally attract in more abundance to your life. You naturally attract in everything you say you want. And you have to align energetically with that because that's what the fifth dimension is. That's what this state of universal energy is that we continue to move forward into. So if you want to grant yourself your own gift and you haven't done this yet, then start with the very first course in my curriculum, which is Expanding Consciousness Fundamentals. It is the fifth dimensional reality. It is what is going to help you understand when the wood snake comes in on that energy and you have to shed those old layers of your own snake, your own skin is going to have to rejuvenate. You want that foundational piece in there. Okay. So start the new year off right. Get into that course. Okay. And receive those energies. It's nothing you have to learn, it's something that you are becoming to be. So you just have to receive the frequencies. You play the videos, receive the frequencies. Okay. Now, why is it that living for yourself right now is the key to this happiness? Let's ponder that. When you break free from external expectations, well, let's look at it this way. When you live for others and you're living for others' approval of you, you're sacrificing you. your happiness, because you're out here going, oh, hey, what do I need to do for you to make you happy? And then you go on the back burner, right? Guilty. Any light worker is guilty of this, okay? Well, you may spend hours during the holiday season. Let's stick with the holiday season. You may have spent hours deliberating on your plans for the holidays that you just moved through, okay? And you might have looked at it as, okay, I'm going to do this over here because it looks good, versus, oh, I'm going to choose this activity over here because this is really genuinely going to bring me joy. That is a part where, are you living for others and what their approval is, or where maybe did you not slide into your own truth because you were living out these external expectations of what the family wanted, or the friends wanted, whatever it is. Okay. So when you're living for you, what that looks like is you're saying no to things that basically insult your soul and don't align with your values. And remember, our values are changing all the time in this spiritually awakened process. Okay. So when you're living for you, what it looks like is you're prioritizing what brings you peace of mind, what brings you a calmness in your nervous system, what brings you a deeper connection to your circle of light, of whatever that is in regards to people, and then what's really bringing you joy, even if it looks different from what others expect it to be. Because the spiritual connection is when you're living authentically, it's connecting you again. I keep saying this in this episode series, or these series for the month, is it connects you to your higher self. It strengthens your intuition. You can trust that inner truth because you're guiding and leading yourself to that real happiness. And when you do that, it's easier for you to absorb new information. And moving into this fifth dimensional golden age energy, it is about receiving new information. And the new information is energetic. So that new energy that's streaming in, well, it's going to disrupt your ego. It's going to disrupt your values. It's going to disrupt your belief systems. It's going to disrupt, I should do this. It's going to disrupt all of these things and disrupt your belief systems as well, if I didn't already say that, because moving into this higher level of God energy, that divine essence of self, you got to shed all of that skin. You got to shed and have the tower moments. You're rebuilding something new, okay? Because this new universe of energy, this new golden age, is not going to allow you to take doom and gloom and these old traditional ways that may not be working anymore. They're going to all fall by the wayside. And you can either try to hang on to it, kicking and screaming into the new way, or you can work with it, work with letting it go and flow and just release and let go and create something new, because we're here to create something new. So let's look at these practical ways to create your season of happiness, especially as you're going into 2025. Okay. Because 2024 is, moving on out the door. All right. So clarify what matters to you. Again, get that journal out, that golden age journal, okay, that I spoke about in the podcast about the golden age, your golden age survival kit. And I put a journal in there. Get the journal out again that you've hopefully been using this month through this series, and ask yourself for next year. It's like doing a vision board, but you're going to ask yourself, what do I want to experience for 2025? Whether it's during the holiday season, whether it's just in general. How do you want to feel? Okay? Start getting the mind in with your energy and reflect on, okay, what's bringing me joy, what isn't bringing me joy that I want to change, so I can have joy, so I can have peace, so I can have connection. And just free write in your journal, what do you want to experience for 2025 that will give you that experience during the holidays of 2025? Okay, because it is all about what you want to feel, because we're moving into a different space of feeling, not thinking, feeling. That's where we're moving to. And people are not really good at feeling, because what happens is they have so much junk in their belief systems, in their subconscious minds, in uh, conditional programming of what they have been told is the right way to do things. And when you start letting go of stuff, you have some feelings that may not feel good, but you got to move through the not so good feelings to get to the new feelings of what you want to feel, what you can create to feel, and it reframes enough in the energy that it stays with you. So again, it's why I have my 12 course curriculum, because it helps you go through all of the different types of spiritual feelings, of those spiritual activations that happen when you're moving into this real space of happiness. So the first step is you got to clarify what matters most to you. Okay. How do you want to feel? What do you want to experience for next season? Then step 2 is you have to let go of the extras. You've got to simplify your plans. You've got to identify what is unnecessary in your world that you don't need anymore. And then you've got to identify what's really actually draining you. And you've got to get to a place of truth. Okay? Not excuses, not manipulating it. No, you've got to put the mirror on, take the mask off, and go, here's my true feelings behind closed doors in my journal. This is what I really feel. Okay? So let's say for next holiday season, gift giving is so stressful for you because it's a lot of money out the door, and it takes you months to recover from it, or you just don't even like shopping and you don't want to do it. It's just not your love language. It's just not what you do. Let's say that's what it is. Then consider something different. Okay? Have an experience, go on a trip, do a smaller gift exchange, make something more homemade that brings you joy, that doesn't just, involve a lot of shopping. Okay? Find another way. Let go of those extras. Okay? The third step in all of this, in creating and defining happiness, is create your own traditions. What are the meaningful activities that reflect what your value is? Maybe in 2025 you just want to do a gratitude dinner instead of a formal holiday party. And you don't do the party, you don't even do the gratitude dinner during the holiday where it would make sense to do it. Maybe you decide, you know what? April feels like a good month. I'm going to have everybody together and we're going to do a gratitude dinner. Okay. And then maybe every year during April, that's what you do. And then maybe during the, cultural holidays of Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate, then maybe you're not with people. Maybe you're with yourself or your spouse or a friend, or, and you're doing a travel trip. I don't know. What does it look like for you? Or maybe you travel all the time and you actually want to be home having something traditional. I mean, it could be the opposite, right? So you may put in there that you want to do more of nature walking instead of a shopping spree. Okay? I mean, instead of going to the mall and doing a whole shopping spree, instead I'm just going to do a nature walk because I'm not going to do the shopping spree. I don't know. Create what your own tradition is. Okay? The fourth step is schedule time for rest and reflection. Take your calendar, block out a certain amount of time for that quiet moment. Remember, you've already set up a nice quiet space. We talked about that in one of the episodes this month. You've already have this nice quiet space with maybe a candle or a nice blanket or essential oils, okay? And you're working on maybe 5 minutes a day to take a little time out for yourself. Do your 4-4-4 breathing. So that happiness is that taking time to rest, to reflect, to recharge, okay? Whether it's the morning meditation, just sitting in silence for 5 minutes, journaling, whatever it is that helps you move you into a state of restoration. Step 5, I'm gonna sneeze. Ooh, I just put in that. Excuse me. That's probably an objection somewhere to the quiet space. Because again, people like to be busy. It is New Year's Eve. You're either sitting at home in your PJs, doing your black eyed peas and having a low key night, or you're listening to this and you're in the bathroom and you're getting all fancy schmancy and, you're headed out to the New Year's Eve party, whatever it is. And you're like, no, Shelby, I don't want to talk about being quiet and whatever. Okay. So somewhere there was an objection. Um, so the next step 5, is to celebrate your small wins. Acknowledge the moments of joy. Acknowledge the moments of connection. Acknowledge the moments or the peace that you are creating. They are coming in at moments in time. They come in, they go out. They come in, they go out. It's not like you're in happiness and joy 24/7. I mean, we are human. We have things going on. Okay? You can walk outside your door and get in the car and see an idiot on the road and it just throws you off. Okay? So the moments where you do have something, celebrate that. That's a small win of joy. So you might set a boundary today. And then all of a sudden you honor what that boundary was, even if that boundary is, I just need to rest today. And you take an hour to rest. That's a win. Celebrate that. Don't shoo it off to the side as if, it was just an hour nap. No, if you don't get to usually do hour naps and you got to do an hour nap, that's a really big win for you. Celebrate that. Again, spiritually, the connection is when you align with your values, you open your heart chakra. You open the energy of your heart. And that is allowing you to experience deeper love and gratitude. And it begins with you. So you have to put it in you. So you're never chasing it outside of you, which is exactly what throws people off every holiday season and just in the movement of life. Because if they're not doing it inside, they're doing it outside. And that creates the disharmony. That creates the imbalance. That's what creates the anxiety, the stress, the image, the mask, the lack of awareness to self. We don't want that anymore. 2025 is going to take that away. Okay. So let's move into now. How do you overcome the challenge then? Living for you. First of all, you've got to get past the fear of disappointing other people. It's very, very natural to worry about how others are going to react if you prioritize yourself. But you've got to reframe that by living authentically. You're a role model to showing what self respect is. You're a role model to inspiring other people to do the same. And remember, a lot of people don't like it when people change. I remember when I went through my massive spiritual transformation, my biological family and certain friends did not like that at all because I was finally living for myself. I was finally making decisions on my own that I didn't have to go get the opinion of everybody else around me. And because I was getting stronger, because I was prioritizing myself, because I was emotionally growing up differently, they didn't like that because I wasn't as naive anymore. I wasn't as accommodating anymore. I was setting boundaries, but I began living authentically. And whether they realized it or not, from then or even now, I'm still modeling self respect. I'm still modeling how to inspire myself, and somewhere that helps others to do the same. Another way you have to overcome these challenges, we've talked about it before, you got to deal with the pushback. Because remember, a lot of people don't like change. A lot of people don't like movement. And if you're changing and you're moving and people around you are uncomfortable, they're going to push back. They're going to try to stop you. In the religious doctrines, people call that, the devil coming in. So you got to learn compassion for yourself so you can be compassionate and communicate and explain what's going on with you if there needs to be an explanation for the choices that you're making, because sometimes people just need to hear why you're doing it. So you might have to say, you know what, I've realized that I need to do things a little differently in my life this year. So I'm going to do that. And I want to feel better about myself, my life, my choices, my joy. And I hope you can support me in this. And if you can't, I understand. However, this is the direction I'm going. So that's how you can deal with pushback in a loving way, being honest, being truthful, being authentic, instead of going, well, I'm going to change anyway, and I don't care if you like it or not. If not, well, then just too damn bad, like whatever. Like, no, there's different ways that you can learn how to communicate when people are pushing back, when you're changing. So, the last way we're going to discuss about overcoming these challenges is to recognize your old patterns. Oh, joy. The old patterns yet again. This is the buzzword everywhere. It's old patterns. It's old patterns. Release your old patterns. Well, it's true. We have to release and recognize. Well, first we have to recognize our old pattern and then we got to release it. So if you've got to be mindful to yourself, 2025 is all about self-accountability, self-awareness. We don't get to pretend anymore that we don't know what we're doing. That's not going to fly. There's too many people waking up now on the planet who are becoming accountable to self. And they're not buying you don't know or someone around them doesn't know what they're doing. Okay? People aren't buying that anymore. They're at, you know what? Wake up, look at your mirror, be accountable to yourself, and do the work. That's where a lot of people are getting to right now. We're moving out of the age of, oh, poor pitiful you weren't mindful and that's why this happened. No, because there's too many people now that are at, no more poor pitiful me. This is why this is happening. And this is why I need to correct it. This is why I need to reframe it. This is why I need to take personal accountability. This is why I need to do, this is why I need to do spiritual growth. So be mindful if you're slipping back into an old pattern. It might be people pleasing. It might be the mask of perfectionism. Practice self-compassion. It's okay to learn as you go. You don't have to know all of this, okay? because every step forward that you take, your authenticity is showing up, and that's a win. But you can't just sit on the sideline, especially in 2025. You can't sit on the sideline and pretend this isn't happening. Okay? Like, the blinders are coming off. You have to do the work. I will tell you that I have more new clients that are becoming my new students because they're learning, oh, I can no longer just float through the winds of change without a roadmap. So people are coming to me now, enrolling in this curriculum more than ever because they know they need the roadmap. Because there's too much airy-fairy stuff going on, because too many people now are having to let go of these old patterns. That's creating a collective consciousness disruption in the force field, and energetically, every single person feels this, and it throws you off energetically. It throws you off emotionally. It increases the anxiety in the nervous system, and this is where people are going, okay, I need a system. I need to learn how this works. I need the downloads. I need, this is not working to not know how to do this anymore. And that's where I say to people, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and it's okay to learn as you go. That's the point. But if you're going to go, you need to follow a process that's easier for you to learn as you're stepping into the authenticity. So you're safe for yourself and you're safe with the others around you. Because energy is no joke. Things happen when people start throwing stuff off. Okay. So let's move to a close on this New Year's Eve of what is the reward for living for yourself? Okay. Well, one reward is you get emotional freedom. Thank God. And emotional freedom is energetic freedom. When you let go of these societal expectations, when you reduce your stress and you create space for joy, you are getting more emotionally free by the moment. And when that happens, the next reward is you are now creating deeper connections because you're authentic, even more so than before. You're attracting people to you and experiences to you that now are aligning with this deeper level of you and your truth. And then the rebound effect of that is you're spiritually growing. Your living for yourself is actually strengthening your connection to that higher version of yourself. And when that is connecting, then you have a greater sense of all of this purpose around you. All of this fulfillment is now coming to you. So I always say to people, well, careful what you wish for, because you may be out here wishing for the moon and the stars. However, you have to be mindful that to pull in the moon and the stars is pulling in a lot of happiness, pulling in a lot of joy, pulling in a lot of abundance. That's pulling in a lot of energy. And the work happens when you know you want the moon and the stars, but you have to work backwards as you're pulling in the moon and the stars. So your mind is okay with what you're pulling in from the moon and the stars. Your energy aligns with what you're pulling in from the moon and the stars. Your physical body can integrate while it's absorbing what you're pulling in from the moon and the stars. So it's a process. Again, there's a huge reward when you're living that way. Yet again, it's why I have the 12 course curriculum, because it takes you through the energetic reframes while you're pulling in the moon and the stars. So you're not missing anything subconsciously. You're not missing anything energetically, emotionally, physically, whatever. There's a safer way to draw in the rewards when you begin living for you. It doesn't just happen. It's a process. Okay? It's a process. So let's wrap all of this up so you can get on with your New Year's Eve shenanigans, extravaganza, if you're listening in real time. And if not, well, you'll get on with whatever the day has for you. So let's recap. Real happiness comes from living authentically, prioritizing what truly matters. The practical steps you're going to implement for 2025 is you're going to clarify what your own values are for 2025. You're going to simplify your plans so you don't get overwhelmed. Okay. Be careful with your nervous system. So that's the simplification. And you're going to create at least one new tradition for yourself. Whether people like it or not, create a tradition for yourself, a new one. And then living for you is the gift that you're giving yourself that you give to the world. Because when you take away the mask, when you have the boundaries, when you have and are sitting in the moment of peace and stillness and quiet, and you are drawing more joy into your life, then you are a gift to the collective consciousness and the world because you are one more person in alignment and in a process of doing the change work necessary for the golden age, fifth dimensional movement. And if you are a listener of mine, a student of mine, and you're moving through my curriculum, kudos to you because you're doing it even greater. Because now you're at a whole other level of awareness and integration because now you're actually in a proven process that works. And you're not just out here drawing things in willy-nilly, hoping that whatever you're doing is working. You're actually now following the leader so you can become the leader differently, whatever that means to you. So I want you to get reflective as we close this out, and I want you to reflect on a question of what is one way you are going to prioritize your happiness for 2025 that's going to have a trickle effect into the holiday season of 2025. How are you going to live for you? And if you don't have that awareness yet, that answer yet, write it down on a sheet of paper, put it on your bathroom mirror, put it in your car, put it in your office, wherever it is that you see. Let yourself draw in that energy because you may never prioritize yourself. And this is a really difficult question to answer, maybe. Okay. So again, share your experiences on social media. Okay. Hashtag Shelby Radio on your social media. Share this episode. Have the conversations with your inner circle, your outer circle. Leave a review if you're listening on Apple Podcast, on YouTube. Let me know in the description box in the comments what you're moving through, what you've learned this month of going into these awarenesses for yourself. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me bout all that through. Woo, I just let go of a lot of that. That was a huge series for the month of December in this holiday season, and it's timeless. Whether you listen to it in real time or you're listening to it in a different year or a different time, it doesn't matter. It's timeless. It's learnings that all matter in some way. So if you're listening in real time, Happy New Year's Eve to you. Happy New Year tomorrow. And join me next week as we are in 2025, where we're going to discuss the new year, the new energy even deeper, and how to actually build your foundation for your spiritual alignment. That's what we're going into next week. Okay? So enjoy whatever you're doing tonight for New Year's Eve. If you're doing anything at all, and if you're not doing anything, well, good for you as well. Enjoy your peace, enjoy your quiet, enjoy the time with your spirit. Because 2025, as we move into the wood snake, is going to be bringing a lot of twists and turns and movements, and we got to get ready for that energy. All right. So happy New Year's to you, and I will catch you next week in 2025. Have a good one.